I'm going to try to get through every player on the roster before the boss comes in and grabs me by the scruff of my neck and hauls me out of here, because I do appreciate.
You were there this week.
I was there.
Boots on the ground.
Yeah, exactly, on Wednesday. And, doing afternoons now, I'm going to have an increased chance of actually being down there. My whole career, I've done mornings. And when you do mornings, to get off the air at 10 and race down there doesn't really make a lot of sense. And doing middays, you've got no chance. But now that I'm doing afternoons, I'm hoping to get down there a lot more, because when you actually see practice up close and personal, or in this case, it's mandatory mini camp, you definitely get a greater sense of what's going on, not only by watching, but by spending time with you.
Yeah.
Because you and I talked a bunch about, and you would say, hey, look at 46, Dibs. I think this guy's got a chance to, and there is no 46, but I don't have my roster. I dropped
69. 69. I said, look at 69.
And you also said, look at 40.
Yes.
Some dude with 3 names.
Marcelino McCrary Ball.
That was the guy. Yeah. There's my roster. Thank you, Lucas.
Look at you. You got a roster.
The boss, because I was joking around in the pre-show. Thank you, Lucas.
Look how small those names are, by the way.
Dude, tiny. I got to squint. We could go alphabetical or numerical. And I said that. And Nahigian, our boss, looked at me. He's like, you think you're funny, right? You got jokes? You got jokes? I'm like, boss, this is what we're doing. I don't know if you've seen the rundown. Neither have I, but this is what we're doing.
You know what?
Alphabetical or numerical?
It's game on. And you might want to test me on the numbers, because I think
there's 2 number 2s as we get this bit underway. I'm just kidding. I'm waiting to see the
Diamador Lenore, I think, is one of them, right?
Yeah. And Isaiah Winstead.
There you go.
I saw reports that he looked pretty good in camp, the wide receiver. He won't make the team, but
you didn't hear it from me. To me, but you never know. You never know.
Coming up next, more single-digit Niners, but I do want to ask you about the big topic, which is something I threw out to Guru and Steiny before they left, which is the idea of the 3 skill position big boys, and can you pay all 3? And especially this, to me, it struck me in light of the Dalvin Cook news, where he's, a top 5 running back in the league in terms of just being a ball carrier, and Minnesota said, nah, we don't want to pay you. So what does that mean for the way the Niners go about things?
Well, he's hurt a lot. I mean, that's really the deal. And they got other backs. So they got Alexander Madison. They got Ty Chandler. Minnesota's got other guys, and they just don't want to pay Dalvin. And Dalvin's a smaller back. He's had injuries, and that's the thing. Your money's got to see the field. Otherwise, you're going to lose. So I think that's what's going on there. But, yeah, the 49, don't forget Kittle either. Kittle might be, if you said who are the alphas on that offense, I think it's Kittle and McCaffrey and Debo, probably in that order. But yeah, can you keep everybody? No. And that's what makes the urgency for the 49ers this year, is they've got a lot of talent on their roster, and they won't be able to keep it forever. They got the cheapest quarterback room in the league. They got the cheapest starting quarterback in the league if they go with Purdy, and eventually that ain't going to be the case. So right now, that luxury affords you, or that reality affords you the luxury of having all this other talent, and the Niners have some of the NFL's best individual players scattered throughout their roster because the quarterback is cheap.
Right, and can they keep these players long-term, which I think speaks to your sense as far as the window, the Super Bowl window, because Brandon Ayuk is going to be in a situation at the end of this year where he's going to need a new contract. Either they pick up his 5th-year option or they give him a straight-up new deal. The Debo signed. McCaffrey, I think, has an out after this year with a little bit of a cap hit. But honestly, based on what we saw from the mandatory minicamp and even the OTAs, Christian McCaffrey, what did he get? The hardest working Niner award unofficially?
He's the tone setter. He's just out there running 50 yards on every play, and he's playing at a speed. He's like basically saying, hey, guys, this is the speed we're going to play at this year, and let's see if you guys can match it. It reminds me of Roger Craig and Jerry back in the day. It's fair. He's going on every run. He's running 25, 30 yards down the field, and some of the D linemen are chasing him.
Yeah,
and it's like the example of how hard he expects the Niners to work.
And even at that, and maybe this was just a dog and pony show, but when I was at camp on Wednesday, McCaffrey runs a route, middle of the field, and there's a pass breakup. He thought that there was contact. He immediately goes to the referee, and shout out these referees who aren't really officiating. they throw flags, but there's no like huddle and we're going to adjudicate the yardage. They throw the flag so that when they look at it on film later, the coaches can say, oh, yeah, they threw a flag for illegal formation or offsides or whatever the flag was. They don't stop practice, but the flag is thrown nonetheless. And so McCaffrey runs a route. There's contact. There's no flag. And he beelines to the side judge. And he's giving him an earful. And it was right in front of us. And I'm watching it. And I know you and Mark were too. And I'm watching it going, this is kind of funny. You know, this must be for comedic effort. But it went on for like a minute and a half. And he goes to the huddle. And then he comes back out and he gives the guy more of an earful. And it made me feel like this guy's taking this all very, very seriously, which was refreshing.
Well, and it's interesting because it's a little bit of a departure from last year. Last year, he just stepped in, tried to learn everything as fast as he could, and just contributed. This year, you can tell he's taking ownership of the leadership angle on the thing. And Trent Williams joked about it, and he's like, I was over there with him. And, you know, I mean, it's just, these things matter. These things matter to these guys. And also, I think he just wants to, you know, the best players on some level are perfectionists.
Yes.
And they believe perfect practice reps, somehow lead to perfect game reps.
Yes, and a tone setter. And now that McCaffrey's in camp for the first time as a Niner, he's definitely trying to set the tone. 888-957-9570. Larry Krueger's here. Nobody's more dialed in on the 49ers than Krug. We'll get your questions, your thoughts coming up here momentarily. We got Jerry Seinfeld and Jim Gaffigan tickets to give away, Larry.
Nice. Where at?
It's at Chase Center. It's in November. That's coming up here in the next 15 minutes as we continue to poke our way through the Niner roster. Number 3, Ray McCloud. Have you seen him take a step up to where maybe he becomes more of a wide receiver 3 on this team?
He's one of my favorite guys. I love talking to Ray. He's a super tough guy, but he's going to be challenged, Dibs. I mean, he's going to be challenged. And what's going to for his roster spot, because there's other return guys this year. They got Ronnie Bell, they got Deshaun Jameson, and those guys can return too. So if somehow Ronnie Bell has this awesome camp and is going to make the roster, I mean, you look at the receivers. They're going to probably keep 5. You got Debo, you got Juwan Jennings, you got Ayuk, you probably got Danny Gray as your vertical threat. Last year you had Ray. Those were your 5. But you brought in Ronnie Bell, there's Chris Conley, there's other guys. Tay Martin. So, you know, there's going to be good competition there. And if somebody besides, if some other player somehow makes an impact as a return guy, then Ray could be challenged. I think Ray's going to make it because he's explosive. He can do a lot of things. But he's going to be challenged for his roster spot this summer.
Definitely competition at that spot. 888-957-9570. Larry's in for Mark. It's Willard and Dibs with Krueger in. Up next numerically is a quarterback, but Dave in Pleasanton has a QB question. So it'd be better if Dave in Pleasanton asked you as opposed to me continuing to go down the roster, risking my livelihood. Dave in Pleasanton, what's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Pretty good. I still want to say, Dibs, you're the funniest man in sports talk radio. And Larry, I love your YouTube.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate you. I'm a big Pleasanton fan, by the way. Very underrated Bay Area community.
It is. So my question is, you know, we're getting all these reports. The other day, Darnold was 8-12. So was Trey, or the numbers were identical. You know, with all these hypotheticals, Darnold's been in the league for 5 years. He's seen all the snaps. Trey hasn't seen the snaps. If we threw that all away, I want to know, Dibs, you've been there. Larry, you've been there a few times. If we were to have to go with one of them first, in your opinion, who are you going with based off what you see, no hypotheticals?
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate the phone call. For me, I haven't been there as often as Larry, certainly, but I think it's becoming more and more clear that it's going to be Sam Darnold. And I made this point to Mark yesterday or the day before about the way I think it plays out. You brought Sam Darnold in because you told him that he was going to have a legitimate chance to be the 2. And what I've seen, what I've read, what I've heard in terms of Trey versus Sam, Trey has not separated himself from Sam. And I think with Sam's experience and his ability to dissect the defense and deliver the ball, I think that he'll ultimately win the 2 job.
So we're assuming that Brock's the one,
Yes.
and who's the two? To me, it's a 3-horse race between Brandon Allen, Lance, and Darnold.
And Allen is next up numerically. He is number 4.
And I it all comes down to consistency. And to me, Trey looks the best of the 3 to me as far as all the way through. But I just think that consistency wise, I wouldn't be shocked if it was Brandon Allen. And I know that's going to probably surprise some people, but I mean, this guy was number 2 to Joe Burrow. He's accurate. He's athletic. There's a lot of inconsistency with Sam Darnold. Trey's been hovering around 50% completion percentage. I just think that there's a little bit more inconsistency. Now, that's what I think you're looking for, more consistency, but the high-end ability is definitely Darnold or Trey. Darnold throws the ball, I think, with a little bit more consistency, but Trey, to me, I'm going with, if it's Darnold or Trey, I'm going with Trey. I really believe that Trey, because he only played 1 year of college football after high school, that his growth potential is his improvement curve.
Right, it's greater than the other 2 for sure.
Sam Darnold's been in the league for 5 years. I think we got a pretty good idea what Sam Darnold is. I'm not saying that he won't be better here.
Right,
he will be better
in a bad system, though, in a broken system in New York, and he had 2 coaches in New York and 2 coaches in Carolina.
That's not excuse at all, because the guy turned it over a ton at SC.
Right, but think about Alex Smith in terms of how many coordinators he had. He had, 7 coordinators in his first 7 years?
He'll be better. He'll be better here.
Yes.
And also, if you look at Darnold's turnovers, high percentage of his turnovers have come second half with the Jets, from behind, trying to make a play, forcing it into windows. And March said it the other day on that was a 33rd whatever website.
Yeah.
That he brought him up and compared him to Steve Young. And he made the good point was that young quarterbacks, there's not a lot of structure, there's not a lot of support, and you're just out there to carry the whole outfit. Where here you don't got to do that. And look at Steve Young; he was the lowest rated passer in Tampa, and he comes here, he's a Hall of Famer.
Right.
So sometimes you got to see things as they potentially can be, and not necessarily as they are.
Right.
Or as they were. Let's say.
Yeah.
And you got to give people the ability to improve.